Good evening. I am that too. We are all interconnected with each other. And the topic of my intention of my talk tonight is to bring more compassion, empathy, and understanding, both within myself as a human being and through each and every one of you. I hope that I am that too speaks to you this evening. The ocean refuses no river, no river. 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 Because I am part of the ocean, I am part of the river. You are part of the ocean, and you are part of the river. We're mostly made up of water to begin with. Water is life. Water is sacred. I'd like to invite you now to put your hands over your heart, and if you feel comfortable, you may close your eyes. And becoming aware of your breath, we breathe in the goodness that is ours to breathe in, and we exhale everything that we don't need. And we breathe into the depths of our soul and our being, and we tap into the love that has been mentioned in almost every speech this evening. Because at the end of the day, that is what we have. And I'd like to ask you to release the hands and consider where your feet are right now. This land is Shoshone land. This land is Bannock land. This land is Eastern Shoshone land, and Arapaho, and on. And the ancestors are here tonight. They've been called in earlier this evening, and it is important to honor the indigenous people who came before the settlers, of which I am one. The universe is made up of particles, large and small, of course. The macro, the micro, and the quantum, the unknown. And if you consider yourself a part of the universe too, of which we are all star material, then we have micro understandings of ourselves, we have macro understandings of ourselves, and we have quantum understandings or not, of the unknown of ourselves. We are connected at the cellular level, at the breathing level, and as we go through our lives here together in the now, today. We're also connected with our past, of course, and going into the future, it is important to bring in our understanding of ourselves and what we have in common with each other. These are times we've heard that are maybe divisive in some communities and maybe in others not so much. But one thing's for certain, we all have common ground. And even in the what we might think of as uncommon ground, there is a certain respect and understanding that can come into that being with each other. No matter what culture we come from, no matter what country we come from, no matter how long we've lived in a certain place or not, there is common ground because we have heart, we have soul, and we have breath. The I am that too concept is taken from a Hindu and Buddhist concept that recognizes the similarity that is in me, that is in you. And whether I'm a Democrat or you're a Republican or you're a conservationist or you are the opposite of whatever that might be, there is still common ground that can be activated and accessed, I guess you could say. Because in the end, we are a community. And Lander is a fantastic example of what community means. When I was going to grad school several years ago, it was right after 9/11 had happened. And I'm sure that most of you remember exactly where you were when that horrific tragedy occurred. I happened to have been in downtown Oakland, California, and I was going to a grad school there through Naropa University, which is actually located in Boulder, Colorado, but they had a western campus in Oakland. And on that day, it was the only day in my entire grad school career that I did not show up for class. I was concerned for my daughter, who was in the area at the time, living with me while I finished my grad school, and I just wanted to be near her. And you can understand that feeling, that heart connection. When I got to school the next day, we were led in like a prayer, a dance, a movement, where we were asked to begin to move slowly around the room, just in silence, but in awareness. And as we passed each person in the room, we would look into each other's eyes and then move on. Just taking our time and slowing down, which is something that in our culture, very rarely do we have a chance to slow down and just be. And then the person that was leading that movement, that exercise, began to call out something like, "I am a pedestrian." And she invited us all to say, "I am that too." Because most of us are pedestrians, right? So she called out, "I am a pedestrian." And can you answer? I am that too. Yeah, not hard to do. If I said, "I am a fisherman," I am that too. Most of you, if not all of you, If I asked you the definition of a Homo sapien, would anybody be able to raise their hand and tell me? What is a Homo sapien? A human being, right? So I can stand here and say, "I am a Homo sapien." I am that. And so as we go through our lives, that is the commonality that we begin with. The breath, the heart, the soul. We know where our feet are. We know where we've landed, just for the now. Let the future take care of itself, and let the ancestors help us with the past and bringing us into the future. That exercise that happened years ago in grad school was affected for several reasons for me. It was like an aha moment. It was a moment where I decided that I needed to move a mountain within my own personal life. I wanted to develop a deeper sense of compassion and understanding for myself. Sometimes I'm the hardest person to forgive, myself. And if I can practice that, then I can practice in a better way with each and every one of you as I work to respect and honor who you are. So this is what happened next in that movement exercise that was happening in class. Martin may have called out, "I am a gardener," and people would say, "I am that too." "I am a painter," and most people said, "I am that too." And then someone called out, "I am a terrorist." And most of the people said, "I am that too," recognizing that the universe is made up of particles of light. The universe is made up of particles of darkness. And if we are part of that cosmology, which we are scientifically proven, then we are all of that. And it is not my job to say that you as a culture or you as a people are the darkness. My job is to recognize within myself what my darkness is and to work on releasing it, which can often happen just by focusing on the breath as a practice, But that's the way it works. An earlier speaker was talking about taking responsibility. It's so easy for me at times to jump out of myself and blame someone, not me. I can blame a culture. I can blame a people. I can blame a person. I can blame a president. I can blame the dog. But the bottom line is, the less I can blame and the more that I can take responsibility for my own healing and really dig in and find out where those places are that need help, the better off I will be, and thus my community at large. So when that happened, and someone said, I am a terrorist, and the people said, I am that too, I am that too. I didn't blow up the World Trade Center. I don't have intentions of ever doing that. I don't have intentions of ever committing a violent crime. But we all have that capability within us. And it's up to us to identify what parts of ourselves are part of that darkness, and to choose moving toward healing and light. And so in thinking about this, I was also thinking about what we all each have in common. And I come from a family of 11 siblings, actually 12 siblings, 10 sisters and 2 brothers. And I'm second oldest of them. When I experienced that exercise that day in class of I am that too, I realized that the best place for me to start, after taking a look at myself, was to invite each member of my family, my siblings. Each sibling was invited to design a day, or maybe just an hour, or as it turned out with my sister Liz, she wanted to spend 4 or 5 days with me. But each sibling was invited to spend time with me so that I could witness who they were, because I think I know who you are. I think I know who you are, and you probably think you know who I am. And to a degree, we know each other. But to really witness one another, especially in the family of origin, was a task that when the idea came to me, I was scared to death to even approach the first person and say, in my family, I invite you to spend a day designing a day that says who you are, because I think I know who you are, but I am going to release all of that and show up for you. And I will show up with a notepad, I will show up with my camera, and I will fill it with 24 black and white shots of you, hoping that one comes out well, and I can give that to you as a gift for our time together. And then I'm going to invite you, my sibling, to send me, after we spend our time together, a poem or words that mean something to you about the time that we have spent, and then we will co-create a poem together. And then, after doing that, inviting each and every member of my family to do that, the adventures that I went on were just incredible. The riches of my family, who I knew they're great people, as most of you have fantastic families, or maybe challenging families, of which I have that too. But to be able to spend that kind of time with each and every one of them was really a superb gift that I could never have experienced, other than to invite them to create their day and then to witness them without judgment. That was the point, to witness without judgment. And I have atheists in my family, I have Christians in my family, I have Buddhists in my family, I have people have married people of different races in my family. There are Democrats and Republicans and everything in between. And to be able to show up without judgment it was just a good practice. And so I offer that as a model for you to consider and take as an idea, because for me it's an idea worth sharing. And see what you can do with it. You'll create your own, you'll get another idea, or you'll create your own way of doing things. But the point is that the universe is always evolving. The universe is contracting and then releasing and birthing. That's what we're doing every day as human beings. That's what the cosmos are doing every single day, and we are connected. And so I invite you to consider inviting a family member or your dearest friend or your grandmother to design a day. They design the day. You are, in a way, at their mercy. The only thing I asked from each of my siblings was to keep safety as a factor, because, that's a good thing to know. I didn't necessarily have to know where we were going or what we were going to be doing, but I wanted to know, I wanted them to know that we needed to be safe, and I needed to know that I would wear the appropriate clothing. I mean, if we're going to the beach, I don't want to dress like this. And then a budget, what do I need to do as far as a budget for the day? And then I was the passenger, they were the driver. And at the end of going through that process, which took a couple of months, we developed a poem. I created a book where each poem was in that book. Their portrait was on the opposite page of that book. And that was a gift that was given to them in a community setting such as this, where there was an audience, there was community, there was the greater community. You were there while I went to each sibling and read them their poem and gave them their book. And they were given the flower that they had suggested to me as we had our time together. What's your favorite flower? I asked each one of them, and I made a note of it. And so at the final gathering that we had as community, as greater community, they filled a vase with their flower. And to see the beauty and the wonder that came from that bouquet was incredible. One brother wanted to give tobacco as his plant, so the tobacco became part of the water. Someone else had a chrysanthemum, someone else had an orchid, somebody else had daisies. I mean, and it was this configuration of beauty that represented who they are, that represent who you are in your beauty and your wonder and your darkness and your light. So I hope that you can find inspiration and motivation, joy, wonder, awe in some of the things that I've shared with you this evening, and perhaps you've gotten to know me a little bit better, and I hope to have an opportunity to get you to know you in a new way, as well as I've reclaimed Lander as my home after being gone for 9 years due to circumstances that were beyond my control, but the cosmos knew, and here I am. The ocean refuses no river, no river. 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 Thank you.